Hello, world. Welcome to Queer Science, Theology, Philosophy, and Spirituality. This is the LGBTQ Center for Science, Theology, Philosophy, and Spirituality, where we discuss science, theology, philosophy, and spirituality with an LGBTQ perspective. And today we are going to do what we can call a new um playlist called Diverse Afro Aphorisms. And diverse aphorisms, an aphorism is an expression of a principle that is known throughout philosophy or theology. And there is one of the best aphorisms I like is the what do you call it? The as it is above, so it is below. However, I have reversed it, and I used to call it reverse Platonism until I did my research and found out that it is actually reverse Hermeticism or Hermeticism, if that's how it's pronounced. So that is reverse Hermeticism. Now, we want to go through that and we want to reverse it. So, what do I mean by as it is below, so it is above? I believe that much as there is a percentage, 50% of time or the universe or the cosmos is as it is above, so it is below. But we could reverse it and say that that then the other 50% is as it is below, so it is above. And then, or you can also say that whatever happens on earth has already happened in heaven, in the heavens, or in another world, because heaven does not exist in our universe. It must be another universe, because NASA has gone out and has not found it. And you can't tell us that heaven is invisible. It's in the sky, but you can't see it. No, it has to be another universe. Reason being, all the prophets in the Bible and the Quran, but mostly the Bible, because Muhammad really didn't have a lot of. The only visions he had was that when you get to heaven, there'll be 72 virgins, and that's all. He didn't give details like John. John gave details, and he gave details of a city with emeralds, with rivers, and Enoch also did the same, and Ezekiel also did the same, and not all of them, but a few prophets did that. Now, I'm not taking away that's why I was telling people why I'm also discussing this is to discuss that as it is above, so it is below. What is above? You see, that's the question. As it is above, so is below. So what is above? You know? And that's why I say everybody who says they have been to heaven, they are right. And you don't know which heaven it is, you see. They can be in everybody's giving a different description of heaven, because the description of heaven by John in the Bible is not the description of heaven by Ezekiel. It's totally different. Ezekiel saw a temple and he measured it. But John says there is no need to have a temple because God and Jesus are the temple. So who is right? Ezekiel or John? You see? So everybody has diverse visions of what heaven looks like. And the reason why I'm bringing up this topic is because when you look at the world, look at how we're advancing with technology and architecture. Are you telling me these things don't exist in that world? Why is it John never saw what we have right now? You see, why did Ezekiel never see that there will be cars and there will be electricity and there will be mobile phones? Why did they not see these things happen? You see, it's because you can only predict what you know has existed. It is very, very hard to predict what you don't know. It's also very, very hard to say what you don't. It's very hard to say what you don't know. Very hard, because if they saw the mobile phone, the smartphone, yes, if they saw the smartphone, they would describe it. You see, you can't describe what you don't know. So that's why most prophets, they predict what they know. Even that's what Paul said. We prophesy in part. There is no way you can prophesy fully, because you don't know that other part. You absolutely don't know what it is, because it doesn't exist in your time. But because time is so complicated, the thing already existed in time. Like I told you, electricity has always been in the world forever. It has always been. It's just humans have to find out. In fact, we're going to do another video that science is apocalyptic. Yes, all the life we have today, we are apocalyptic. We are lifting the lid on every single topic, every single thing in the world. We are lifting up the lid. You see, that's why there's a lot of chaos now. It's because we are lifting the lids. Too many lids are being opened. And it can make you go mad. Yes, because we have lifted the lid of sexuality. We have realized people have different genders and sexes. It confuses people. We've lifted the lid over economics. We now know how much money the richest person has. In the past, nobody knew. We now know where the poorest person in the world lives. We've lifted the lid. We've lifted the lid on medicine. We've lifted the lid on races. Now we know that we are genetic beings. We used to think we're just human beings. We are genetic. And we have even lifted the lid on the acid arrangement. That's the genes, because genes are acids. They are proteins. It's unbelievable. So many lids are being lifted, and we are solving our problems. And the more lids we lift, the more powerful we become. So I'll talk about that in the apocalyptic video. Let's now go back to the topic of the day, and we are discussing the Hermes. As it is above, so it is below. But I also believe that as it is below, so it is above, because if we're making computers, then I'm guessing, this is my theorization, the spirit world, those people in that very far world, maybe they have a way of communicating with us, and they communicate with us through dreams and through speech and through very weird things. Like there was a very weird happening. I don't know if I can get it today. There was a stone that came from a very far universe, and I want to see the people, the scientists, helping us to find out the quality of that stone from another universe. So let's look at that. Let's see that. Okay, this is the they're talking about Avengers, a rock from another universe. I think it was an asteroid, if I was not wrong. Was it an asteroid? Okay, there it is. That's the rock that came. Well, okay, this is not so correct because um, but that's the this first known interstellar meteor may have hit Earth in 2014. So this rock here, you see it, the artist's concept of Oumuamua, an interstellar object that was discovered zooming through our solar system in 2017. A new study determined that the small meteor that hit Earth in 2014 came from interstellar space as well. The first meteor to hit Earth from the interstellar space and the second known interstellar visitor overall may have just been discovered, a new study found. And in interstellar, meteors may be common and could potentially help life travel from star to star. The first visitor, it was a cigar-shaped object called Oumuamua in 2017, and the scientists deduced the origins of the 1,300-foot-long object from its speed and trajectory, which suggests that it came from another star or perhaps two. And so that's, now look at that star. Can you see how it is? They focus on the fastest meteors because a high speed suggests a meteor is potentially not gravitationally bound to the sun, thus may originate outside from the solar system. So that's what they're trying to tell you. The meteor is not bound, are not bound to the sun gravitationally, because the solar system controls all the objects in the system. So it has a gravitational pull on everything. The earth is rotating because of the earth is rotating because of the sun. You see, we are rotating around the sun, and the what do you call it, and the planets and all the asteroids and everything that is in the solar system, its movement is controlled by the sun. But this meteor and this interstellar object, because it came into in the universe, it is assumed that its entry means it came from another system, another star system. That's why it's called an interstellar object, because the sun is a star. We are going around a star. We are worshipping the star called the sun, and his throne is in the center of the system, and we run and we worship him. We rotate, going around the throne of the sun. And there are other star systems that have other planets. That's what you need to know. Okay, well, this thing has decided to freeze on me. We know how to revive it. It is going crazy. So now so that's what you need to understand about the world. So I was asking myself when I was learning about this object that came from another star system, is it that when we die we go to another star system? I believe we go to another star system, and that star system has another world that could be similar to Earth, because they know how to communicate to us, and we communicate to that world through the people who have died. Yes, the people who have died, we can still communicate with them because they could have gone to another star system. Now, all I'm saying is theories. Number one theory, when you die, you go to another star system. The second theory, when you die, you stay in Earth. You're in Earth. Your spirit is in planet Earth. It doesn't leave the solar system. It still remains in Earth. But you exist as a spirit. And the third theory, like reincarnation, the Hindu system of reincarnation, meaning when you die you reincarnate, means that you remain in the solar system. You'd never change the star system. But for those who believe in a heaven, because NASA and ESA have not found heaven outside there, then it means that people may go to another star system that is away from the solar system. Okay, this thing is frozen on me. I don't know how to I'm trying to find a way to restore it, because I like Google Chrome. It's opening things is very easy, but this is called freezing in serious in a serious way. Okay, so because of that, let's go on with the video. I will not discuss Hermeticism as I wanted. I could do it on another one. I could do it on another, what do you call it, application, maybe Opera. Yes, Opera doesn't have so many, so let's go as it is above, so is it below. So I was thinking to myself that because we are making phones and we're making computers, could it be that these ideas come from a spiritual communication with those who are in that world, and then they drop these ideas in our mind, and they drop them in people who are looking for truth, and they drop those nuggets, and people create these objects, and then we make them, and then we think, wow, we are so great, when actually it is from that other world that they're communicating to us, and they drop to us ideas, and we make these things, so that when we die, we go back to that world which has more sophisticated technology, so sophisticated we've never seen it before, and so sophisticated that it has solved every problem. You see, everything, they can do anything, they have extreme powers. And that's why I always believe that when Jesus said, greater work shall you do than him, I believe it's the scientific inventions that people made. Because Jesus is wisdom, Jesus is science. And so his science was to heal people, but he said we are going to do greater things. And we are doing them right now. And I believe in this age we are going to find the treatment to blindness, to everything. Every disease will be cured by the end of the century. Yes, I am telling you the truth. Why? We now know the whole human body. Then the second part we're going to do, we will know every error that happens in every part of the body, and how it happens, and how to solve it. Then you will see the world by 2100, we have healed every disease. And now the problem the world is going to have is how to sustain the populations of people to live here. Now, meanwhile, remember Oumuamua, the object that came from another star system. You see, it came to Earth. How long did it travel? You see, very, very fast traveling. And that's the other thing about, weird thing about prayer, is that when you pray, is it that your prayers travel to the other star system? Because when people pray, they pray as if God is here. You know, he's here. So, God, answer my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. And then you don't get the answer. So, is it that it is taking time to come? Well, when we're going to discuss about interstellar relationships, in religion, Daniel insinuates such a thing, that prayers, when you pray, angels carry your prayers back to that star system, and then they are given an answer, and the angel comes back with the answer from the star system. Now, sometimes they delay, the answers delay because of war. That's what Daniel went through. He couldn't get the answer because there was another angel that didn't want him to get the answer. And so, the angel had to fight that other angel, the prince of Persia. And then when they fought, when he was too strong, the prince of Persia was too strong for the other angel. So Michael, or I think one of the archangels, I can't remember if it was Michael, came and fought him, and then he fought the other angel, and this angel came down and gave the answer to Daniel. Now, Daniel wanted an answer of a vision he had. So that's a sign of interstellar relationships, interstellar communication. And prayer is interstellar communication. It's talking to another star system, because as I've told you, NASA and ESA have looked and they have not found heaven. Yes, heaven must be a planet. Yes, it must be a planet, because there are buildings, there are roads. So they have not found any planet in the solar system. So that means it must be another star system. And so when you pray, you are connecting to that star system. That's what you do. That's my belief. That's what I'm learning from what I'm thinking. So this is still an aphorism. As above, so below is an aphorism associated with sacred geometry, Hermeticism, and the tarot. And the tarot, I think, is a game in Kabbalah, if I'm not wrong. Let's look at that. The magician, the tarot card, is the first trump or major arcana card in the most traditional tarot decks. It is used in game playing as well as in divination. In divination, is considered by some to succeed the full card, often numbered 0. So this is the magician's what do you call it? Magician's card. And it's very funny, I'm laughing because these days in the spiritual world, there's what you call wordplay, and you're looking at so many MAGA and Trump. It's just annoying. Yeah, so you just see Trump there. It's very funny. So yes, these are word plays. Of course, that is deep knowledge. We don't like going to discuss that. We leave that to people like Jordan Maxwell to discuss the word connections, because words it's weird. It's a weird science. I don't know how to teach it, so I just leave it like that. Anyway, so we are back to as below, and the phrase came from the emerald tablet. Do you see how emeralds were so common those days? I mean, these days we don't have emeralds. They are very rare. And the 16th century Chrysogonus Polydorus provides the following version translated from the original Arabic into Latin. Quod est inferius est sicut quod est superius, et quod est superius est sicut quod est inferius ad perpetranda miracula Rei Unius. The phrase can be taken to indicate that earthly matters reflect the operation of the astral plane, particularly by other means than mundane chains of cause and effect, such as Jungian synchronicities or correspondences. In the secular context, the phrase can refer to the idea that the microcosm reflects the macrocosm. For example, that individual or domestic ills can result from larger societal ills. The Message Bible uses the maxim in its translation of the Lord's Prayer. The phrase of the prayer says, "Our Father in heaven, reveal who you are, not hallowed be thy name." thy kingdom come. They don't say thy kingdom come. They say set the world right. It's a right-wing Bible. Do what's best, as above so below. So thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Thy kingdom come and thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Meaning the will of God is already done in heaven. So in the other astral plane, and then now let that will in the astral plane happen in this astral plane called earth. So heaven is another astral plane, and earth is another astral plane. Now the sun is the aster or the star of earth, and the other astral plane, we do not know which star controls the astral plane where heaven is. That's what you need to understand. That's my theology. So do what's best, as above so below. Now the problem, or not the problem, it's weird. Jesus reversed this thing when he said, because I have a Message Bible also here, when he said that whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. So that's a reverse of the Hermeticism, as it is below, so it is above. So let's go to what Jesus said. And I will give thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of the astral plane that is not in the solar system. And whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. And he comes of work to say, whatever I say unto you, whosoever shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever ye shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. So what does this mean? Whenever you're binding something here, whenever you bind something on earth, you will bind it in heaven. Whatever you lose on earth, you lose it in the heaven, in the other astral plane. So what am I saying? This is the world, especially Christianity and Islam. Judaism is a bit. Judaism doesn't really think about heaven. Nah, they don't have that belief. They believe the world is okay. They believe in heaven, but there's something about them that no. Judaism is with Christianity and Islam, yeah, because there are enough scriptures that talk about heaven, and so in the Old Testament. So sorry, Judaism also is astral. They are interstellar religions. So these interstellar religions believe there is heaven and earth. So we have these astral planes. Remember what Stephen Hawking said: there is no universe, there are multiverses. There are multiverses. There are many universes out there. So heaven could be another universe altogether. And we are in the universe that is owned by the sun. And when he said that, it shocked people, but I believe in him. I believe in that. There are multiverses. So whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. So which means whatever you do here, it also happens in heaven. And whatever you lose, you set free on earth, you lose in heaven. Now I want us to read that also from the Message Bible to see if it is different from that one. Okay, Message Bible, we have it here. Message Bible, where are you? Oh my. So you can see things happen on heaven and earth and in the astral planes. And this is, I'm talking to people who believe that there is another world. Of course, there are other worlds there. It has been proven in science, but people have twisted. You see, religion, what you need to understand about religion, it's man's understanding. It's not God's understanding. It's man's understanding about the unknown. It's algebra that is not solved. Yes, because God is the X, is the unknown X, is the unknown number. Nobody knows who he is or what he is, his sex. Nobody. Nobody knows how he looks. Nobody even knows how heaven is. So religion is just algebra. Yes. Science is not algebra because they solve all solved algebraic equations is science. Science, there's nothing unknown. It is everything must be known and then explained and then taught to people that this is the truth. We now know how the human body works because they know the human body. You can't know what you don't know. So you see, for God, you can't know God because you don't know him. You've not seen him. So how do you know him? That's why Jeremiah said the one who should boast is the one who knows God. Because you've known the unknowable, unknown. You've known the unknown thing. And this is why we are here teaching people, because for us, I know that if there is a God or gods, that he knows everybody and he knows everything and everybody belongs to him. You see, Paul gave his understanding of God. Yes, his understanding of God was that God is in everybody. And I believe that. I also believe it. That God is in everybody. The cosmic power is in everybody and everything on earth. That's it. Even God is in Saturn. He's in planet Saturn. He's in the planet Jupiter. He's there. He's everywhere. Oh, it is everywhere. To be kind to religion, because who said God is a man? Maybe intersex. I believe even if he's a man, he's an intersex because human beings are intersex. Yes, we have male and female hormones. Genetically, we are made up of a man and a woman. Yes. It's only Jesus who can be excused because he was not impregnated by a man. He was impregnated by a Holy Spirit. Who said the Holy Spirit is a man? That may have been a lesbian. Yes, it may have been a lesbian reproduction. Because what's the sex of the Holy Spirit that led to the conception of Mary? It's so interesting. So anyway, because of this, the hiding of this, the Bible is missing. I can't. I'm talking too much, and so I'm looking for it. And okay, I'm looking for that Bible. I really want it because it's a very free Bible. I hope we get it. If we're not, we're going to use another app where I've saved it. These are other Bibles. I keep Bibles, as I said last time, because I learn languages through reading them. Because since I know the Bible in English, when I read a weird language, I can study. I can learn a bit of that language. Okay, if it's not there, we're going to go to Bible Hub. And Bible Hub helps me out. Good, there's Message Bible. Okay. Now, Matthew Okay, 16. 16. I like the Message Bible because sometimes it's so laid back language. Of course, you've seen it's right wing, where they say, do what is right. Can you imagine telling God to do what is right? Let's go back to that prayer. I'm laughing at it. Let's look at that prayer. It's making me laugh all day. When I read that Bible, I always laugh. Set the world right. So that's what he's saying. It's very funny. I'm just laughing at it. Sometimes I like making fun of right wingers. So that's what I do. So let's look at the verse. That's Matthew 6. Of course, that's Matthew 6. But what we were reading was from Matthew 16, verse 19. And in the Message Bible, it goes like this. It says like that. And that's not all. You'll have complete and free access to God's kingdom. Keys to open any and every door. No more barriers between heaven and earth and heaven. A yes on earth is yes in heaven. A no on earth is no in heaven. So, according to the Message Bible, I think the power of Bible versions, they can even diversify theology. Now, when you read this in King James Version, it's a bit, very strict and British. So it's telling you, from heaven and earth. Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. But in the Message Bible, they are saying no more barriers between heaven and earth and heaven. If you say yes on earth, it is yes in heaven. So meaning Jesus unified the stellar planes. The interstellar planes are one. And whatever you do here is done in heaven. And whatever you don't do here is not done in heaven. It's unbelievable. Wonderful. So you'll have complete access. Then let's go to Matthew 18. Take this more seriously. A yes on earth is yes in heaven. A no on earth is no in heaven. What you say to one another is eternal. I mean this. When two of you get together on anything at all, listen to that, anything at all on earth, and make a prayer of it, my Father in heaven goes into action. And when two or three of you are together because of me, you can be sure that I'll be there. So you see, Jesus is promising that he'll be there whenever you're preaching. Whenever you gather together. So a yes on earth is a yes in heaven. So my thinking of this was like, if God, that we've made phones, we've made computers, so does this mean that these things exist in those worlds? And if they don't exist in those worlds, do they copy from us and steal this knowledge and take it back to heaven and replicate it quickly? They are worse than the Chinese, and they go and replicate it, and then they have the system up there. Because I was asking myself, look at the Bible, it says the book of life. Do we need books now? In this age of technology, you need Word, Excel, MS Excel, Microsoft Excel to record everything. You don't even need the book of life to put your name there. Yes, you need the Excel of life, that there's an Excel list and they've written your name and they have recorded every minute of your life. And they say, oh, this time, but you did this in 1300 hours, 1330 30 hours. That means 130. You did this. And they say, I didn't do that. Then we can play it on, and they play. So I remember the days, old Christians, the days of rapture. They were always talking about these things, that they will play your life again. But I don't agree with it, because Jesus Christ died for all of us. So there's no need for judgment day. He has paid for you the price. He took your mistakes and made them his. All your mistakes, they are his. So why are you going to be judged when he said he took your mistakes? Everybody. There's no judgment. You're just going to another place. All right. Let's go on with Hermes. So Hermeticism has an aphorism that says that heaven, as it is above, so it is below. And I've explained to you exactly what I mean by that. And it's attributed to Hermeticism. Now, what is Hermeticism? It is the religious, philosophical, and esoteric tradition based primarily upon writings attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, thrice greatest Hermes. These, that's why I'm laughing, MAGA, Make America Great Again, comes from the is a slogan, but MAGAS. MAGAS means big, major. So Megistus, and that's where you get the word magistrate. A magistrate is a magus, and is a magician. Oh, it's unbelievable. So that's magician, magistrate, magus, and then MAGA, Make America Great Again. That is what's happening. And these writings have greatly influenced the Western esoteric tradition and were considered to be great importance in the Renaissance and Reformation. And a doctrine that affirms the existence of a single true theology that is present in all religions and that was given by God to man in antiquity. So there's one theology that is present in all religions. Lovely. This is what I love. And this is the basis of Hermeticism. Now, many writers, including Lactantius, Cyprian of Carthage, Augustine of Hippo, Marsilio Ficino, Giovanni Pico della Mirandola, Giordani Bruno, Tommaso Campanella, Sir Thomas Browne, and Ralph Waldo Emerson considered Hermes Trismegistus to be a wise pagan prophet who foresaw the coming of Christianity. Much of the Hermeticism arises with its connection with the development of science during the time from 1300 to 1600 AD. The prominence that it gave to the idea of influencing or controlling nature led many scientists to look to magic and its allied arts, alchemy and astrology, which it was thought could be put nature to the test by means of experiments. Consequently, it was the practical aspects of Hermetic writings that attracted the attention of scientists. Isaac Newton placed great faith in the concept of an unadulterated, pure ancient doctrine, which he studied vigorously to aid his understanding of the physical world. So that is Hermeticism, and it comes from the Greek god Hermes. And who is Hermes? Hermes is the god of trade, heraldry, merchants, commerce, roads, thieves, trickery, sports, travelers, and athletes. And in ancient Greek religion and mythology, the son of Zeus and Pleiadmia, who was the second youngest of the Olympian gods, Dionysus being the youngest. I like Dionysus very much. So there is Hermes. And Hermes was the emissary and the messenger of the gods. The Hermes was also the divine trickster and the god of boundaries and the transaction of boundaries, the patron of herdsmen, thieves, graves, and heralds. He is described as a moving freely between the world of mortal and divine, and was the conductor of souls into the afterlife. I like that. He was a conductor. He was carrying people to the afterlife. I'm liking the word conductor because when you're traveling in the bus, they carry you. Your destination is heaven. Every destination you go to, every day, is heaven. Like when I want to go to a restaurant, let me give a famous restaurant in the world, KFC. I enter the bus and it takes me there. I am very happy because the vehicle has dropped me to heaven, because my destination is heaven. And this is why it's very nice to travel, because when you finish the journey, it creates dopamine in the head. Dopamine is released. It's like sex. It's because you have conquered. if you count the day, what you do in the day, how you've succeeded, I got this money, I made money, I made, I reached this place. It makes you happy. So in a day, always do things that make you happy. That's why people masturbate. Because if they don't do something in the day, masturbation leads to reward without you having sex with someone. It's the easiest way to get reward sexually, masturbation. So you masturbate. So you feel happy. Yes, I've made it. I've done it. I'm in heaven. Yes, every time you masturbate, you're going to heaven. Every time you have sex, you are going to heaven. And when you release or when you receive, you have heaven. Or in fact, the person you are sleeping with is your heaven. It can be a man, it can be a woman. Yes, that's what you should know. So you go to heaven every time you're with that person. And if you don't sleep with somebody, you masturbate to go to heaven. And sometimes you're so tired you don't even masturbate. You just sleep because you've already gone to heaven. And when you sleep, you go to another world. If you are a dreamer, some people don't dream. They are so tired they don't keep memory. They don't have dream memory. All right, so there you are. And what I like about this God, thieves use him. It's so interesting, so sad. I mean, have you ever been, when you've been robbed, you don't like a thief, but they have their God. So what I like about the Greeks, everything that happens in the world, every person has his God. Yes, prostitutes have their God. Musicians have their God, Dionysius or Apollo. Apollo is the god for musicians. Every profession has their God. That's how the Greeks studied. All right, now I wanted us to go to the Hermes Trismegistus, then we'll be done. Now, he's the purported author of the Hermetic Corpus, a series of sacred texts, and are the basis of Hermeticism. So, this is the picture of thought, and it is Hermes Trismegistus, also coming from Ethiopian English. You see how Ethiopia is very close to Magish and Nagash and all of those. Magi, magician, as I told you. That's word play, word connection. Connect the words and look for their similarity. And the Egyptian god Thoth. Greeks in the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt recognized the equivalence of Hermes and Thoth. So for the Egyptians, their god was called Thoth, borrowed from Coptic language, and he is often depicted as a man with the head of ibis or a baboon, animal sacred to him. His feminine counterpart was Seshat, and his wife was Mat. So gods in Egypt had both masculine and feminine counterparts. So if you're dealing with the feminine part of thought, you are dealing with Seshat. And when you are dealing with the male, you are dealing with thought. Now remember, in Egyptian is the Semitic languages borrowed from them, Hebrew and Arab. So when you see T at the end, it's mostly feminine, a feminine word. So that's why Sheshat is feminine and Mat is feminine. Every time it ends with T, is like bint, bat in Hebrew, and bint in Arab. Then when those words came to Africa, Africans tend to like vowels, O, A, E, I, O, U. So they had binti, and that's still a lady. So that's just by the way. So Thoth was there. I want to find out who Thoth was. Thoughts, how to find out who he is. There's too much talk here. So I'm happy that his attributes. He served as the scribe of the gods and is credited with the invention of writing and Egyptian hieroglyphics. In the underworld duat, he has appeared as an ape, Ani, the god of equilibrium, who reported when the scales weighing the deceased heart against the feather, representing the principal mat, was exactly even. The ancient Egyptians regarded thought as one self-begotten and self-produced. Yes, they believe he gave birth to himself. He masturbated himself. Yes, they believe when he masturbated, he created the world. He was a master of both physical and moral law, making proper use of math. He is credited with making the calculations for the establishment of the heavens, stars, earth, and everything in them. The Egyptians credited him as the author of all works of science, religion, philosophy, and magic. The Greeks declared him the inventor of astronomy, astrology, science of numbers, mathematics, geometry, surveying, medicine, botany, theology, civilized government, the alphabet, reading, writing, and oratory. They further claimed he was the true author of every work, of every branch of knowledge, human and divine. Wonderful. So you see, the Greeks, most of Greek philosophy and theology comes from Egypt. That's why they have a rainbow pantheon. What do I mean, a rainbow pantheon? A pantheon means a congress of gods, just like the Egyptians. The Egyptians were polytheistic, just like the Greeks, just like the Indians, the Hindu people, the people of India. The Europeans were also polytheistic, but not as heavy as the Greeks, the Romans, Egyptians, and the Hindus, and the Middle Eastern religions. Moses took the part of Akhenaten and became a monotheist. And monotheism was spread to Christianity, and Christianity spread it to Islam. So that's why the Abrahamic religions are monotheistic. Because to them God was one, and that's what you need to understand. But the Egyptian theology, therefore African theology, and the Greek theology, and the Roman theology, and the Indian theology, and the Babylonian theology, all of these theologies were polytheistic. So this is what you need to learn. Now, I think we've read enough about Thoth. He's a nice guy to read about. So we've finished that, and I think now Hermes was the Greek god of interpretive communication and was combined with Thoth, the god of wisdom. The Egyptian priest and polymath Imhotep had been deified and long after his death, and therefore assimilated to Thoth in classical and Hellenistic periods. Yeah, so most of these guys who are called gods were actually human beings that did very great works, and the Greeks deified them. So that's what you need to know. Hermetic literature among the Egyptians was concerned with conjuring spirits, animating statues, informed the oldest Hellenistic writings on Greco-Babylonian astrology and on the newly developed practice of alchemy. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. So Hermeticism is found in very many places, in science, in philosophy. Islam has pointed out, they call the Hermes Trismegistus the builder of the pyramids of Giza, and has a major place in Islamic tradition. Hermes Trismegistus is mentioned in the Quran in verse 19, Surah 19, verse 56 to 57, mentioned in the book Idris, that he was truthful, a prophet. We took him up to a high place. So Idris is Hermes, and the Jabirian corpus contains the oldest documented source for the emerald tablet of Hermes Trismegistus, translated by Jabir ibn Hayyan Geber for the Hashemite Caliph of Baghdad, Harun al-Rashid al-Asid. Jabir ibn Hayyan, a Shiite, identified as Jabir al-Sufi, was a student of Jafar al-Sadiq Hussein bin Ali's great-grandson. So I just enjoy reading Arabic. So now they believe is Idris the infallible prophet who traveled to outer space from Egypt and to heaven, whence he brought back a cache of objects from the Eden of Adam and the Black Stone, where he landed on earth in India. Wonderful, wonderful. And this is the prophets in the Quran, an introduction to the Quran and Muslim exegesis. There you are. So Islam also talks about this God, but he's not a God, he's a prophet because he actually existed as a human being, and they call him Idris, but he's called Hamis, and in Egypt he's thought. You see, Ibn Ishaq says he was the first one who wrote with the pen. There was a span of 380 years between him and the life of Adam. Many of the scholars allege he was the first one to speak about this, and they call him the thrice great Hamis. So the Islamic theologians have really talked about Hamis. Congratulations to them. And they call him Enoch. So some Arabs call Idris Enoch. They could be right. Esdras is there. Esdras, Idris, it could be there. So they call Enoch as that Enoch was actually Idris, initiator of the mysteries of divine science and wisdom that animate the world. He carved the principles of the sacred science in the hieroglyphics. Good. Now, in the Baha'i faith, they identify Idris with Hamis in his tablet on the uncompounded reality. He does not, however, specifically name Idris as the prophet of the Sabians. And then in the New Age, where we are, the guys have taken 42 essential texts that contain Hermetic religious beliefs, and they have a book called the Kybalion. And within this occult tradition, Hermes Trismegistus is associated with the several wives and more than one son who took his name, as well as more than one grandson. This repetition of given name and surname throughout generations may add least partially for the legend of his longevity, especially as it is believed that many of his children pursued careers as priests in the mystery religions. So his family took up his name and they became priests in the mystery religions that were started by him. So that's Hamis, that's Idris, that is thought, and is very, very, very interesting. And he's the one who gave the view, as it is in heaven, so it is below. So what could it be? It could be that Hamis traveled to heaven and saw everything there and brought those ideas back here. That even the pyramids came from that other astral plane. And he came and built the pyramids the way he saw them in that other planet, in another astral plane. And it could be true, it's Enoch, because Enoch is believed to have never died. He ascended. He went to the other astral plane with his body. What if he came back again? Anyway, so we are very happy to have learned about Hermeticism together. And the summary of what we've learned is that heaven is another world and is another astral plane, is another universe. And we all go there. Yes, when we all die, we go to that astral plane. And that's why there's no heaven and hell in this solar system, because it doesn't exist. I mean, NASA would have found them. Yes, they would have found them. And they haven't found them. And when you read people's description of heaven, they have buildings. So what does this mean? So what am I trying to tell you? That even if they're angels, these angels behave like us. And they're even higher than us. So they can make things. They are inventors. That's why when you read the book of Enoch, it says, it discusses these angels who came and slept with women and gave knowledge to the world. They were teachers. They were teaching people about the arts. The arts we have today, they came from these angels. And it's only Enoch who writes about this very well. So it's only Idris who writes about this very well. It's only Hermes who only writes about this very well. It's only Thoth who only writes about this very well. And we'll discuss that when we're discussing about angels. And remember, we've just read about the New Age. You know, in the New Age, they want to occultize. You hide knowledge. But what is happening, the great awakening happening all over the world, they are lifting up the lid on everything that is hidden. You see, all the occultic organizations, people know them now. It's very hard to find an occultic organization that's not known, but they are there. There are very many organizations that are secrets. Yes, very many. You see, an organization is made up between two people. Yes, that's what Jesus said. Where 2 or 3 are gathered, I'm there. Yes, because he knows that's an organization. And he is in every organization. Yes, every organization. God is in everybody, and Jesus attends every meeting of every organization. He's there. Yes, it's why does he attend all of them? It's because he is in all of us. And when you meet together, you are acting, you're making a resolution. You know, when you have a meeting, you have a revolution. You decide, you make decisions, we are going to do this. And it happens. That's what Jesus is saying. Whatever you say, when you say yes here, it's yes in heaven. And the heavens now implement what you have said yes to, as you are also implementing. That's why angels come and help you. Again, interstellar relationship, and I'll end here. When Jesus died on the cross, before he died, he asked the Father, my flesh is weak. My spirit is willing, but my flesh is weak. And when he said that, the angels came to strengthen him. They strengthened his flesh. They ministered to him, to check on him. Why? He prayed. He called heaven, the astral plane, the other astral plane, called it and said, hey guys, it's getting thick. I don't think I'm going to make it. I just don't see myself. And they said, no, you have to do it. And so they came to strengthen him. So you see, when you pray that God bring peace here, the angels of peace come. And they come and look at the place. But there has to be agreement. That's why I've told you, whether you have sex, gay or straight, God is there. Yes, whether you have gay or straight sex, He's there. Even when you masturbate, He's there. That's why I told people, someone was saying, how can a pastor preach in a miniskirt? And I was like, you think God is scared of a miniskirt? He knows that woman from head to toe, inside out, everything. Nothing scares Him. It's you who is scared because you don't know that person. Have you noticed when you slept with someone, you don't get shocked at their nakedness? Yes. Even if they wear a miniskirt, I already know that person. Even when he's a man and he's opened his butt, seen him. Yes. A guy seduces somebody, they have never done anything with them. Yes, we seduce those we've never done things with. Wait, when you do them, apocalypse has already happened. Yes, apocalypse means revelation. You see, when you know somebody, it is occult because they are hiding. Is the person brown inside or black? It's occultic. Until you get to the room and then you undress, the revelation happens. The apocalypse. And it's the end of the world. And you get what you want. So anyway, that's enough. I'll talk about apocalypse, the current apocalypse that happens forever. Science is apocalyptic. We are always lifting the lid to know. Truth is occultic, is hidden. The truth of electricity was hidden to the world until Edison and his gang, Michael Faraday, they found it. And they learned how to trap it. They lifted the lid off of electricity. Lightning has been in the world for thousands of years, ever since the world began, but nobody understood what it was until Benjamin Franklin, Michael Faraday, and Thomas Edison knew these were charges in the atmosphere and that we can produce them on Earth. They are also found. Do you know lightning is electricity? Yes. All this light on, whatever, your phone on, is lightning. The electric charges that are natural. And they were found, and they lifted the lid of electricity. So there are very many topics that still have their lids not lifted up. And we're going to discuss about this when we discuss that science is apocalyptic. Thank you for joining us for Hermeticism. See you next time.